What is going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives, giofvcks. This is a viewer request. Discussing how people be acting when a family member passes or somebody close in the family dies and passes away, and you go to the funeral, and discussing how the different types of behaviors, the different types of family dynamics that you may witness at some of these funerals, homegoings, when a person dies. And I want to preference with saying I have experience dealing with this a little bit, especially just in my own family. Rest in peace to everybody that has passed away. I mean, 2020 alone, that was basically 8 people in my family that passed away. And it was back to back, like trauma, sadness, death, over and over and over again. And dealing with death is hard regardless of the situation, you know. Yes, we know death is going to happen. We all have an expiration date. We just don't know when it's going to come. And yeah, you can do what you can to prepare yourself, but ultimately, I don't think anybody can, like, most people are not going to be prepared to lose somebody that they love and care about, okay? Now let's talk about it. Death is hard as it is, but it's very difficult when you come from a toxic family or a dysfunctional family. You know, the family dynamics is all over the place. That sucks, you know what I mean? Like, I understand. Been there, done that, dealt with it, you know, and this is a viewer request. So, dealing with family, when people pass away, you will notice what gets me the most with this is the fact that when people are alive, y'all don't have nothing to say. When people are alive and well, functioning, they're here in the physical, you don't talk to the person, you don't check on the person, you don't send a text message, you don't send a phone call, you don't visit, you don't have nothing to say to them or about them. Or let me rephrase. You might be gossiping and talking trash and spreading misinformation and lies and he said, she said, they said, hearsay. You feel me? That might be what you do in relations to that person. But other than that, you don't really give a damn about them. But the minute somebody dies, somebody's sick and ill and in the hospital on their deathbed, all of a sudden, that's my favorite cousin. That's my nigga. That's my girl. That's my boy. That's my sis. Oh my God, that's my ride or die. We did this and we did that and blah, 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 blah. But like I said, when the person is alive, where's this love? How come you don't let people, how come as a community, as a society, how come we don't give people their flowers while they're here? Is basically where I'm getting at with that, right? Like, what is that? How come it takes somebody dying, being very gravely ill and sick, for you to care about them? What is that? Again, it's like we take people and things and places for granted. And then when that person is no longer here, or that, you know, that opportunity is no longer here, then all of a sudden, you now understand the value of it. And that's sad that it has to come to that. And it shouldn't have to be like that. But a lot of times, that's what ends up happening. You know, people just, they don't be understanding. They don't, you know, don't understand, don't care. And what gets me about the dysfunctional, toxic family is, you already know, 9 times out of 10, the person doesn't have life insurance. So this is also a class situation as well, economic situation, right? Because it's like a financial situation. It's a financial burden when people don't have life insurance. Now we're sitting up here doing GoFundMes and crowdfunding to raise money to have a funeral, to bury this person, or to have this person cremated so they can have a proper homegoing. You feel me? So then you have to deal with that. You know, we doing spaghetti dinners and Like I said, on GoFundMe and Cash App and Venmo and other crowdfunding platforms, asking for donations so we can bury our friends and loved ones. And a lot of this can be avoided by simply having life insurance. Information about life insurance will be in the description box below. I personally have my own personal life insurance, and I pay $24 a month, and it's the best. It's an added level of security, right? For me, anyways, because I know in the timing of me passing away or dying, my family isn't left with trying to figure out how they're going to bury me. And a lot of people, especially in the Black community, brown community, people of color communities, okay, we need lower income, working class communities. We need to talk about this more so we can avoid all of the issues that ends up coming up when people pass away. Get life insurance so we're not sitting up here doing crowdfunding and spaghetti dinners to bury our loved ones or to have the cremation or what have you. I mean, again, death is inevitable, as in it's going to happen. So, we need to be more aware, and I highly recommend that you get life insurance, all right? Look into that so you don't leave your family, your loved ones, trying to figure out how they're going to bury you. And then let's just keep it buck. As a person of trans experience, as a transgendered individual, intersex individual, have your affairs in order, because people will dead name you and misgender you in death. Okay? And if you know this is how you identify, have a will. Have a will and testament. Have that set up so people aren't sitting up here dead naming you, misgendering you, burying you in dresses when you didn't wear dresses in life, or burying you in suits or in clothes that you didn't identify or wear when you were alive. Like, that's a lot of things that we have to take into consideration as transgendered individuals, as people of trans experience. Because think about it, while we're alive, we're being misgendered and dead named. So I can only imagine how it's going to be when you're dead. Like, oh, well, back to calling you she and her, even though that's not how you identified as. So again, just putting that as a caveat, make sure you have your will and testament together. Make sure you have your affairs in order, y'all. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. We're in a pandemic. People are dying left and right. And like I said, death is inevitable. It's going to happen. So, in my opinion, I would highly suggest and recommend you get your affairs in order. Get your life insurance. Get your will and testament. Get things in order, y'all. For real. So then you got that issue. Then you get to the funeral and, you got the family members who, like I said, didn't give a rat's ass about you when you were alive, yet they will be the main ones at the funeral, at the homegoing, after you passed away, crying, theatrical, falling out, rolling on the floor. That was my cousin. That was my nigga, man. We was together. In the meantime, when you were alive, don't give a rat's ass about you. The fakeness. That's why I said it's the theatrics for me. People be sitting up here falling out at funerals over people that they can't stand. But they want to put on this show to make it appear like they loved you and cared about you, and they're so heartbroken over your passing. And a lot of times this is done because they think they're going to get something out of it. Let's just keep it real. Let's just keep it real. They think that they finna get some of that money, okay? If you got life insurance policies, you have assets. We see this all the time when older family members pass away. All of a sudden, all the kids are fighting amongst each other over the money that's left over or the assets that are left over. You see it all the time. It's dysfunctional, it's toxic, and it doesn't have to be, but you see it happening, okay? Be a whole out war between siblings when somebody passes away, when one of the parents, one of the grandparents dies. It's a whole out war and battle. And it's like, you didn't even care about this person when they were alive. Now all of a sudden that they're dead, you're sitting up here trying to get houses, cars, stocks, bonds, get into different bank accounts, whatever that person had left to whoever. That's why it's so important that you have a will and testament, you have your affairs in order. So there is a, there's a, things are already in place. This is going to cousin or my son or my daughter or my sibling or my offspring, and it's listed out. So we don't have to have all this back and forth arguing, fussing and fighting, family members not talking to each other, family members low-key trying to kill each other, fight each other. You see the craziness. Oh, it happens. Who's the power of attorney? All of this needs to be put into play, honey. And when you're dealing with toxic, dysfunctional, narcissistic family structures and dynamics, this is where you see this type of behavior at the most. Because healthy, functioning families ain't doing all of this. Understand that. And again, it's a damn shame that you only care about a person when they're dead. Okay? Because like I said, you don't want to give people their flowers when they're alive. Like I said, don't even want to check in on you. But when you're dead or you're sick, all of a sudden, hey friend, hey cousin, how are you? You were the love of my life. You were my favorite person. But when you're dead, when you're alive, you didn't see any of this. Like I said, you ain't seen family and friends in over a year. But when you're dead, everybody at your funeral. Everybody on Facebook talking about rest in peace. Rest easy and all of this. But when you're alive, where is this love? Where is this camaraderie at? Like, it's ridiculous. But anyways, it's wild witnessing, right? And it's also sad how I've noticed in a lot of dysfunctional, toxic, narcissistic, wishy-washy family dynamics and structures, the only time you see family is at funerals or when somebody is sick and dying. That's the only time you see these people. You go years without seeing folks. Well, such and such died. All of a sudden, everybody is at the funeral. I mean, and the funerals have become reunions because in these toxic, dysfunctional, wishy-washy family dynamics, y'all don't like each other. So you're not going to see each other on a regular basis. You feel me? So the only time you see people is when somebody has passed away or is about to pass away. And that's sad because it's like, damn, what happened to family cookouts and barbecues? What happened to calling on a weekly basis just to see how you doing, to check in, to have a conversation, okay? To still have that connection, to still have that relationship. What happened to that? It's gone. Everything is literally wrapped around funerals. Only time you see people, only time you have any real like connection with family, unfortunately, in these toxic, dysfunctional, narcissistic, wishy-washy families and family structures, you will see that being played out. And that's sad. You feel me? Because we should be able to communicate and see each other outside of death and sadness. You feel me? We should be seeing each other during happy and fun times too. Right? And unfortunately, depending on your family dynamics, you already know how it is. You may or may not see any of these people unless there's a death in the family, right? They be at everybody's funeral. And it get to the point where it's cousins and uncles who already know that they're going to be pallbearers. They're pallbearers at everybody's funeral. You know, you got the honorary pallbearers, and then you actually have the actual pallbearers that are lifting the casket and putting it into the hearse and pulling it out of the hearse. And, it's something. It's something. And I think about that. Like, we should be able to see our families, our friends, the people that we supposedly care about, the people that supposedly mean the world to us. We should be able to see them outside of funerals and sadness and depression. I'm just saying. And again, with the dysfunctional behaviors of people fighting over wills and assets and money when a person dies, I mean, you will see brothers and sisters and siblings go at each other's necks over money, wills, testaments, assets after someone has passed away. People fall out. People fall out and cut whole family members off because of this type of stuff. And y'all looking at me like, are you serious? I'm dead serious. I've seen this play out Okay, so that's what I mean by it's wild how people can behave and act once a person has passed away. Like when you see these dynamics play out, it really will have you looking at things differently. That's all I'm gonna say. It really will. You'll be sitting back like, that's how it is? Yeah. That's how it is, my people. And a lot of people, it's sad. But for some people, the only come up they have is when someone passes away. Yeah. You know, it's sad. And then it just goes to show you, in my opinion, how superficial relationships are, how fake people are. And it's sad that everything evolves around, like, people not having genuine connections and love and support and compassion and empathy for each other. Like, but that's supposed to be your family. That's supposed to be your friends. That's supposed to be your loved ones. And that's a lot, you know, to be dealing with. And like I said, death is inevitable. It's going to happen. I'm going to die someday. You're going to die someday. So I'm going to leave this video off with saying, please, in my opinion, lived experience, I highly recommend you get life insurance. You get your affairs in order, okay? If you need to get your will and testament set up, do that, y'all, because it's real out here. And you don't want to leave your family, your loved ones, your friends, the people you care about in a bad place when you pass away because you didn't have your affairs in order. That's all I'm saying, all right? Anyways, y'all be safe out here. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated if you can, if you want to. Still social distance. Wash your hands. Wear a mask inside and outside. Be careful out here, y'all, for real. And I'm out.